We're about to get started in a moment. Hello, everyone. We're going to be doing another feature of the woman behind the brand. I love these series. This is such an amazing series. We have another feature, Miss Kāron. She is one of our special WIN members. She actually is an ambassador of the WIN community. She has been in the WIN community for a long time. A lot of people were here in the community when we started on Clubhouse, and that was well over a year ago. When we started out, we were just coming together and just supporting each other. Now we have people who have roles, and I love it. So make sure that you tune in. Make sure that you share this live to your friends. Tell them all about what we have going on in the WIN community. I'm going to put a link as well so you can join in and, also get to know more about the professionals that are in the community. Join into some of the things that they're doing, because what we have going on is we have WIN VIP members. We have a WIN directory. If you're not listening there, you need to get in there. I'll post that link there. We also have, some opportunities for you to get into our workshops. If you're a WIN VIP, you also get opportunities to do virtual networking. We have a virtual meetup coming up on Sunday. So if you want more support in your business and you want somebody to just be like, child, yeah, I'll buy that. We got people like that. She is amazing. I can't wait for you to hear from her. She's the affirmation queen, but she also has a lot of other skill sets that we're going to dig into. A lot of people like this series because I get to ask questions about the people that normally people don't get to know, right? Like, why did you start the business? Why are you doing this? What's going on with their challenges and all those things that a lot of people think of, like, well, where did this come from? Where did this idea, grow out of? And so we're really featuring individuals to do that. Come on, Kāron, get in this live. Let me go ahead and invite her in here. Get in here. Make sure she gets that invite. And I'm just waving at everyone. Make sure you share this live to your friends. Make sure that they know we're here. Hey, Kāron.
Hi there, everybody.
Kāron.
Hey, Allegra, how are you?
All right.
Give me a second. Let me just put this on a surface where it won't fall.
Sure. While you're doing that, I'll talk to the audience because we have Miss Tawana who's here. Hey, we have one half of the tri-state leaders in the WIN community. We're going to be featuring this live on YouTube. We're going to be featuring it in our guide on IGTV. We're also going to be posting it in the WIN community as a reel so that you can get to know a little bit more about it. So if you have, if you're support of women in business, if you know about the WIN community, go ahead and share this to your friends. Let everybody know that you're here, because I'm sure they're probably like, you probably don't even know like how many people know Kāron already, but we're going to dig into it. How are you, Kāron?
Huh?
How are you?
I am well. How are you?
I'm good, girl.
Wonderful.
Timing down the day.
Yeah.
100 degrees.
Yeah.
Doing my best. So we're going to feature you today, and I'm really excited because, what you've done on Clubhouse for the past 2 years, you've been in so many different spaces. I think you've been there as long as I have. So
yeah.
you've seen a lot of what I've seen. And now you've gone from, just kind of being in a lot of different areas where you fostered growth yourself. Like I saw you doing a lot of what you already do with your skill set, like administration and in those areas, to being on your own stages now and doing your own thing. So let's just start with what you do and who you say.
So what do? I spread the word of affirmations to start with, talking about how important affirmations are for our lives, for our businesses. Allegra and I both used to be in an affirmation room most of last year, and I want to say maybe all of last year and maybe a little bit of the year before. And in doing so, I realized how much I have already been doing affirmations, but I was able to level up my life by attending that room. Well, of course, once the room ended, I'm like, wait, I'm missing something. I'm missing something. I'm like, oh, I know what I'm missing. And Allegra can tell you, I'll message her. I'm thinking about doing it. And Allegra, being as wise as she is, she's kind of let me marinate in that for a little while. But at some point, I went ahead and opened my own room, which is the AM affirmation room. And it is one of the best things I've done since being on Clubhouse, is opening that room. And now I have my own club called the For the Love of Me Club. Very intentional, that name, because self-care, affirmations fall right in the middle of self-care. So I named that club that name, and also the room AM Affirmations, because in the morning time, I believe, because we're getting up, our brain has not gotten cluttered with all our to-do lists. First thing in the morning, to affirm ourselves, to speak well about ourselves, to speak well about our business, I think it just starts us off on the right foot. So that's what I'm doing. Who do I serve? Everybody, because we all should be affirming ourselves. We all should be affirming ourselves, whether you do it through scriptures, whether you do it through a mantra, whether you do it through affirmations, whatever your case may be, because there is no cookie cutter way to do affirmations. We all should be doing it. But right now, my target audience seems to be women, entrepreneurs. Those that are considering to be entrepreneurs are the ones that are coming to the room most often. Every now and again, I'll get a man to come in, and I get so excited because I'm like, a man in the room. I get very excited because everybody can benefit from the practice of affirmation. So yeah, that's who I serve, mainly women. The ages are pretty wide spectrum, because the very young 20s to my age 50s. So there's no small age group. It's a pretty wide group of women that come into the space.
So to your point, and those of you who just popped in, right? Kāron's talking about that she does affirmation rooms on Clubhouse that really inspire you throughout the day, because you get to start your morning off right. And I've been in those rooms with Kāron. Last year, the rooms that we did and affirmations were just as powerful, and Kāron brought it to a whole new level, because now, you have a lot of people that want to have a community like that. There's not a lot of rooms like that anymore. I think, phased out, and to your point, Kāron, you saw that there was an app that still needed it, like yourself.
Yeah.
To your point, though, that's where I would say it may have come from. I was going to ask the next question, like, where did this come from? Like, why affirmations? But clearly you just stated it. That, you felt like there was a missing link for you, and you found that it's also the same with other women.
Yeah.
So I want to hear about, like, how that really changed the dynamics of your life, because I know what it means to sacrifice, to do time on Clubhouse, because I know that you still, like, are you full-time on it? Are you doing it full-time now? Or are you still, like, what does that look like for you in your life? Let's talk about.
So the schedule for the room is every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 6:30 a.m. So now I'm keeping it that way intentionally, because I want to give people an opportunity to do their own practice on Tuesdays and Thursdays. But of course, come to the room to pick up some tips, to practice their affirmation, or just state their affirmation. So the progress, though, that has come about as a result of this room is exponential. It is amazing, the testimonies that have been given by women who have owned their practice of affirming themselves, have really developed their own practice, their own affirmations. People come back all the time, or who have been coming all along, come in and say, Kāron, thank you so much. You don't know what you did for me. Well, no, all I did is give you a framework. You did it for yourself. I gave you some suggestions, or you heard me say my own affirmations, or you heard others in the room say their affirmations, and hearing their testimony. I can tell you for myself, just a little segue, for myself, how I discovered affirmation is recovering from my life just being totally obliterated. My life just being completely obliterated, and having to start over. And if you know anything about pain and abandonment and disappointment, it could be very difficult to pull yourself up out of that. But in my prayer time, I just heard the word affirm, affirm, affirm. And I had to figure out, I'm like, wait, what does that mean? So once I dug into it, to realize affirmation is just speaking well about myself. And through scripture tells me I am. Scripture tells me I am. The great I am is who I worship and serve. Now, we all maybe have a different faith walk, but for me, it all boils down to the ultimate creator, right? So when I heard the word affirm, I started to dig into that. And I literally started to speak well about myself. Was it an overnight thing? It was not. But did I build myself up a little by little so that I can get back on my feet and rebuild my life? I did. So affirmations really is a way of you speaking well about yourself and digging yourself up out of whatever it is, even if it's just a temporary low. Being able to say something positive about yourself when you're about ready to punch somebody can keep you out of trouble. if nothing else than that. So hopefully I answered your question, Allegra. You know, I get really excited about this
Yeah,
conversation.
absolutely. What I got out of it was that you were empowered by the women that you came across, and that their life being changed from what you were able to show up and do now because of how you know, experienced it. You now can say,
Mhm.
I am this powerful that I can show up and show people how to change their own lives. And that's,
Absolutely.
let me tell you, that's been like the theme of the series. Every single woman and man who supports has come up and said, you know, I experienced something in my life that changed my life. I want to share it. And that really speaks to purpose, right? And I think
Yes.
what's so powerful. Now, here's what I want to say. I met Kāron in person, y'all. The first meetup, Kāron showed up. And, you know, at that time, I don't know if you were doing rooms on affirmations yet.
No, not yet. Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
So Kāron,
Well, no, that's not true. That's not true because I remember Orinthia telling me with your affirmations, you need to do a monthly subscription box. So yes, I was doing. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
so you were just getting started in your journey, which speaks to a lot of people because I think that, you know, you really wanted to find your way through this process, right? And so, you know, what did that look like for you? Because here's the thing. I speak to a lot of different people and they're in different, we're all in different places. And sometimes, you know, you have some people who are just like, hey, got it, go. And then you have some who are just like, no, I really need to think this out because I want to make sure that I'm, you know, being very intentional about my process. And with you, Kāron, I know that you've been very intentional about your process to the point where you're like, okay, no, I want to make sure this is right. What does that look like for you? Like, how's that been?
It's been a journey, and you're absolutely right. I like how you said I've been very intentional, which is correct. When I first came on the Clubhouse, it was like, hurry up and do this, hurry up and do this, hurry, 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 hurry. And I found myself a little bit caught up in that, but wisdom kicked in and said, you sure you want to do that? Is that really for you? Just because it's for somebody else does not mean it was for you. And in that awakening, I decided, you know what, just slow down, find your path. You have some things that you want to do, but right now, are you really ready to go full force with those things? And being honest with myself, because we can be a little motivated, over motivated to get things done because we see this person doing it and that person doing it, and we want to get in the flow of that trend too. But I had to recognize with me having a 9 to 5 and having some other responsibilities, I can't just jump ship and leave everything, hoping and wanting everything to work out. So you're right. I am very intentional about my navigation of whatever it is I'm doing, but particularly with Clubhouse, because you know, it's anything for everybody on Clubhouse, right? So having experienced a few disappointments and things of that nature because I wasn't vetting things like I should, taught me a really critical lesson that for me, I need to vet everything out. I need to be very intentional, have a thought of everything. If I haven't, don't make a move. But if I have, like with the AM affirmation room, even when I started that, where is this going to go? I didn't know at the time, but I know I needed to do that because I was being pulled and called to do that. So now that I've done that, has developed now into something else, which is going to be released very soon. I'm so excited about that, but that's because I took my time. And you mentioned in many rooms about how we need to make sure we have A, B, and C, so we have a firm foundation. And I believe that's where I'm at. I have a firm foundation, so these ideas that I've had can begin to build. But it all started with me just saying yes to the call and opening the room and giving others an opportunity to grow so that I can grow as well.
Yeah, I love that, Karan. You brought things out. I think it's so important for people to hear. And that's why I brought it up because let's just be real. And you know, there were people in different spaces. I remember when I transitioned out of the first time that I went into full entrepreneurship out of my 9 to 5, and I was like, I got a lot of help, but I was very excited and very ambitious. And of the things that, you know, even my, you know, people that were ahead of me were like, I want to do that a little differently. And I was like, oh, okay, no problem. You know, and it didn't work out, right? Because to your point, you know, you said the key word in wisdom.
Right.
I think that when you get to a space where you're like, I want to make sure that this is right. I don't want this to be something. The first year in business is just like that personal development year in where you're just like learning things, and that's why people become like apprentice and stuff like another
Mm-hmm.
time. But we forget, and we jump out and we go, oh, we just want to make money today.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Doesn't always happen, So
Mm-hmm.
what you said, now that you spent the time and you invested in people,
Right.
now
Mm-hmm.
something of a community where you're changing lives. It's not just 3 times a week, it's every day, because they come to see what you have, and they join you in different platforms. I know you have
Yes.
Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
So so let me ask you this question. What has been the most impactful testimony that you've had throughout this process that maybe, was the fuel to keep?
Oh, good question. It's not just one, but there have been a few testimonies where women have come in and said, I didn't know anything about affirmations. I knew scripture, I knew prayer, mantras, but affirmations, I didn't know anything about it. But because they stayed in the room, they listened, they stayed at the bottom and they listened in the wonderful listening lounge. I shouldn't say the bottom, the wonderful listening lounge. They stayed there, they listened, and then eventually they started following me. So then, of course, they moved up a little closer. And these women have literally, and it always makes me cry too, they start crying because they are so excited at the growth that they have experienced. And they attribute that to affirmations. Miss Ramona, Miss Tawana, Miss Coach Marilyn, the list goes on of the number of women that have come in. And when I say come back, because they start their own thing in the morning, so they can't always come to my room. But they find time to come in and say, Kāron, I thank you so much. And listen, that affirmation you just said, I'm going to adopt that one for my own, which I encourage people to do, because last I checked, there's no patent on affirmations. So there are multiple examples of women that really have come back and testified about their growth as a result of affirmation. I tell everybody when they come into the room, please don't think affirmations are a magic trick, because they are not. Affirmations, along with an excellent, as best as you can plan and execute them, that's what gets you to level up. Affirmations by themselves, no. Mirror work by itself, no. It'll make you feel good on the inside, but about making that level up, you got to put a plan with that. But affirmations are absolutely the way to start, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I've actually been in some of your rooms to hear some of those testimonies, so I truly believe it. I know that there's probably a lot that you can mention, and just goes to the fact that look, here's the thing. Like, we have this saying that who do I quote? Jesus, gotta remember who's saying these things. Until they know you care. That saying is so
Yes.
true, and it's so important, because you care about where people are. And to your point, like, affirmations, when you them out loud, they are, like, you made a great point. That connection comes from your unique ability to express to people what it really means.
Yeah.
Like, really a thing that you have with your creation, because you were created to speak life. Like, that's just what it is. And to one of the lives that we just did, Kāron, as this speaks so heavily to what you do, there are people that are very wealthy that don't even have a belief in who God is, like the way that some people who go to church every single Sunday, Wednesday, and it's not it's not about the ritual, it's not about the, oh, I read the word, it's understand what it's actually telling you to do, which is really why I think, to your point, you even said it yourself, people, the testimonies you've heard were from people who share biblical principle because they know the Bible, but they don't know how, they don't know that affirmations are an application of that.
It is. Ari mentioned yesterday in her live with you about how we can know the Bible, but we don't know how to apply it. There are people who don't go to church, are taking the principles and applying it to their life and becoming very successful. And us that have been in church from the day we were born until, we don't know how to apply the principles. And affirmation is one of them. Ask any person that's successful. they'll tell you they have a practice of mantras or affirmations, all equal the same thing, but they know how important it is to pour into themselves or have a process that they can tap into when they start to get stressed or overwhelmed. So absolutely, absolutely. Yes, yes, and
That's
yes.
so important. So we know you've been changing lives. It's only been a few months since you've been doing the rooms. So what do you, okay, so I know the rooms are by itself and you have a special collection or edition of personalized affirmations. Like where, like, okay, so did that come from someone saying, oh, Kāron, can you make it for me? Or like, what was that?
So I was getting these downloads, people that were coming into the room and they were trying affirmations for the first time, or if I hear someone say, I will not in their affirmation, that's like a red siren goes off in my head, because you don't want to say what you don't want to do in your affirmation. You want to say what you want to do in your affirmation. That's 101 in affirmations. You don't want to say, I will not eat chicken anymore. Well, no, I will feed my body properly to empower myself to be healthy. You want to say what you want. So when I was hearing things like that, I was getting these downloads like, no, we need to talk a little differently. So creating them, just a few, like 3 or 4 for them, and giving them a different way to look at it, gave me an idea. Wait a minute, customize affirmations, which that's what's coming in February 1st. I am launching, doing customized affirmations. I've done several, about 20 of them, just because, but I realized an opportunity for others to take advantage of this. So we'll be launching that on February 1st. And fingers crossed, I have one more product, if everything lines up, that will be offered with that as well on February 1st in the line of affirmations. So yes, I will be offering customized affirmations for entrepreneurs, for people who will have a focus that they want to pour into, so they can level up into it, whether it's their personal life, their weight loss. And listen, I'm not promising any magic. Affirmations are about changing your mindset, so you can change your life. But there are certain affirmations about specific things that if you really, and it's not just repeating words, everybody. I can't say that enough about affirmation. It's really believing what it is that you desire and that you deserve it and that you're worthy. So believing that you deserve it and you're worthy, and by repeating that to yourself consistently. Me, is in the morning and in the evening, I'm repeating these things to myself. And as you do so, it changes your mindset. And instead of that real playing saying, oh, you can't, or you don't know, or you too this, or you too that, that real that's saying, because I am, I can. Because of the great I am capable. I am smart. I am intelligent. Those types of I ams, and even greater. That I've heard your affirmations, which are a completely different framework from what others may do, but they serve you best. So there's no such thing as a cookie cutter way of affirmations. But when I hear someone who can need a little help, I try to give them a little, here's some ideas. But now, recently, I was asked for some customized affirmations, and I'm like, okay, this is an opportunity. So there we go.
There you go.
February 1st, look for it. It's coming.
Oh, sorry. So, you're going to be doing customized affirmations. You're going to now start really helping people who don't understand how to affirm themselves, even if you know who we are in God. And it's so funny because, like, I have my own experiences, y'all. So I know, like, when we get through the hard part of the personal development and all those things, start to realize how foolish we are. Like, that was one of my biggest things.
Right.
I was so foolish because I was saying that I was feeling confident about, but I was very ignorant of. And when we affirm ourselves, when we speak things out, when we start to do things like, okay, thoughts, honestly, that's what affirmations made me do. It like literally throughout the day, if I chose to affirm, it was like it challenged my belief system. That, are you really saying that? Like,
right.
That's the saying.
Exactly.
That's what? Like, you're how much money? We never made money before. You're gonna what kind of relationships? You don't even like have a boyfriend. What are you talking about? So when to the point of affirmations, I'm gonna do this next because this is what's so powerful about you. I think that we forget that sometimes we are the journey, like you said, where you're figuring it out for yourself. I want to do.
Right.
But, I find that usually we do what people need us to your point. And you're seeing about the journey, oh, wait, these women are saying this is what I can provide.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
I just love that so much. And here's the point of, moving forward when you think about your impacting lives and your changing lives and you're finding the resources you have that can, really help other people develop. How do you see that impacting more lives?
Um, Great question. How I see that impacting going forward. I have a request that's already out there for these customized affirmations for children. Think When I think if I was affirmed the way I'm affirming myself now when I was younger, what a different life I could have had. I have what I have. I'm not, I'm a wonderful person. I'm having a great life, but we have an opportunity to pour into children so that they can maybe avoid some of the pitfalls that we went into by not trusting ourselves, not having enough belief in ourselves. So I see the affirmations going into that. And I did a summit. Tawana graced me with the honor of doing a keynote speech for entrepreneurs. In that speech, I laced it with affirmations for entrepreneurs. So that's another avenue where, as it could be just quotes, it could be whatever you want to call it. It's still, if I'm speaking well about my business or my employees, I even have a request for a small business just want some quotes on the wall for their employees to read when they come in the morning. Talk about powerful. When they walk in the morning, they're going to see these signs. You may just be reading them, but sooner or later it's going to get implanted. So I see lots of opportunities coming out of this, especially the more exposure I get, the more people understand it's just not words that I'm repeating over and over. It's that energy I put behind them. It's the belief that I pull up out of me and apply in my daily actions. Like you said, those reels that play that say, you what? You gonna make what? You're gonna replace those reels that says, yes, I am X, Y, or Z. And the power of your tongue. Oh my goodness. Life and death in the power of our tongue. So speaking well can improve our lives in many ways, and I'm here to serve.
This up for me, Kāron, because that was powerful actually, because it's true. When you talk about people that go through different things, so let's just kind of, because we got a little bit of time before we get to the next slide.
Okay.
When we think about what people need to affirm, right? Everyone needs to affirm no matter where you are in life. So new levels, new devils. So if you think you made it, keep affirming. Keep affirmations, right? That's why I think it's so important what you do, because after that first level of affirmations, they're like, okay, hit my goals. I got married. I got the house. I got the car. I got this. I got that. Okay, now the next level. I want more for myself. But here's one thing I thought it's so interesting about the affirmation process. Like when you're thinking about affirmations, usually it comes from a place where you feel like you learned them because you needed them.
Right.
And like this is just follow me, y'all.
Go right ahead.
So you needed them, meaning that there was maybe a place that you were in that you were like, I need something that's going to help me where I'm at mentally, because I'm not thinking right. That could be, this is what I've experienced and this is what I've seen. That could be you going through a loss of someone. Maybe it's your life as far as someone leaving you, here or not here, right? It could be you losing a job. It could be, it could be a lot of different things that make us feel, here's the thing, make us feel less than who we actually are. And when I think about some of the things that you've already said in this live, some I've heard from the testimonies of people that have come into the rooms, why what in your life do you feel that the affirmation, because you said at one point in time, even before, you needed that. That was that in your life. For me, I told my story in my affirmation room where people now to this day, they're probably like, the people that kind of grew up with me in that space, they're like, oh yeah, Allegra went through a 7-year relationship. She was going to get married, walked out the door, started affirming herself. She got on Clubhouse. She started making more money. And it was like, okay, lo and behold, right? You, Kāron, I know that, you have your own story. So I want to hear, about your story and about before you even got to the space of even being on Clubhouse. Like, what did that look like for you to even, find a space? 'Cause I've even heard you say on Clubhouse, like, I like being connected to people. Like, I like being able to grow here because I need that. So kind of laid it out for us because we gotta know that.
Absolutely, absolutely. So let's start with affirmations. Just a little bit about me. Mine was relational as well. My former husband and I decided to, well, he decided, I didn't want to, but you know, you can't force people to stay with you, right? And had built an entire life, 2 kids, an entire life, and that was done. But when I tell you the emotional devastation that happened within me, my worthiness did not exist anymore. My belief in what I could do on my own as an individual was smashed to smithereens, all because of a relationship. But that once I realized what I needed to do to pull myself up out of that, it let me know that I had too much value on that relationship and not enough value in myself as an individual, right? I think that's just the nurturing part of us as a woman, but also as a woman, I'm able to stand on my own and be me in my greatness, right? Now, did I get to where I'm at overnight? I did not. And I will say that Clubhouse was very instrumental in aiding me to get where I am because I do need people. But my self-confidence took a huge hit with that relationship breakup, right? So with the pandemic, couldn't interact with anybody, couldn't do anything. You know, I was at my house. My children are adults. One of them was at home, but just not having that interaction, that connectivity with people, my mental state was declining. It was declining very rapidly, and I'm sure a lot of us have a version of that story. Coming here to Clubhouse really opened up the door for me to see the possibilities. As you mentioned earlier, administratively, I was helping someone out, which gave me some exposure. It was more of an education for me, being in that capacity, right? So getting that education, seeing the possibilities, meeting people, really making some friendship. Like Allegra and I, we met almost in the same place 2 years ago, right? So being able to identify, and that was another reason why slowing down was very important for me, because I needed to make sure my time here was used well. So from the relationship blowing up, pandemic, still haven't got myself completely together, identifying that affirmations work really well for me, but coming to Clubhouse and experiencing the growth that I've experienced with them, meeting other people and hearing their language, being in that affirmation room we used to be in and hearing other, I'm like, man, if only they would say this instead of that, how they can empower themselves. So that was pretty much what brought me here, and what keeps me here is hearing those testimonies. When I hear those testimonies, like, yes, I am doing exactly what I need to be for this time in my life. So yes, I will keep going with affirmations. I believe in them. I preach them. I teach them. I will always share with people in a way that serves them best about affirmations. I'm never going to stop talking about affirmations. So if you don't like affirmations, don't come to my room.
I heard that. Listen, you know, I think your story is powerful, and I think you know, sometimes people need to hear, you know, that, you know, listen, we all go through things. Like, no one is exempt. I think that sometimes sharing that part of it, the vulnerability of it as a woman, especially because, like, to your point, we are the nurturers. So y'all, we give it all away.
We do.
And you know, when you think about it, this is a lot of women's story too.
It is.
It is like just investing so much in, you know, their marriage and their children to just kind of be left dry in the end.
Absolutely.
That's really what it is. And I love the fact that we can own that and say, it's okay. Like, you know, I learned through that, and be more empowered by it, because you could be a victim of your story or you could be a victor. And when you said that your situation made you realize that I could use affirmations for anything. It doesn't matter how someone tries to bring me down. It also reminds me of a lot of young girls. You said that you like to cater to everyone, but, you know, we segment our audience. They know, everybody know me. I'm like, don't do it. The younger generation, like Gen Zs, the Gen Alphas now, they don't play about self-care.
They don't.
They understand that being able to speak life into things and being able to have space to, meditate and have the clear mind to know
Yeah.
what to do and then not rush into things.
Mm-hmm.
They're way beyond where a lot of people in our generation are. And if we don't get our minds together where we start to really understand that we've just been, realistically, a lot of things have happened in our lives over time that we've just accepted, and it's just been a part of the experience
Right.
as women. But look at where we are now. Like, there's no limitations, there's no excuses. They're literally just
Exactly.
like
Mm-hmm.
getting out of bad situations and saying, the honest to God truth, if I want to share y'all a real transparent, because me and Kāron can talk about this, because we both had the same experience. But
Mm-hmm.
the God truth was that I was happy when it happened.
I can't
I was excited.
say that. I can't say that, but that just speaks to the differences, right?
Yeah, I was excited. So it's just like you gotta realize, and sometimes you may not even be happy, but it's a necessity in order for you to get to a place of, being in your own space where God needs you to be. Because
Exactly.
if I think back on some of the things, like I'm sure you can, and say, would you be as great as you are today if you would still be in that space? And
Yes. I love it. That was huge, Alexa. Allegra, I'm getting ready to call you somebody else's name. Allegra. That was huge, because you know what? And someone just put in the chat that my 23-year-old daughter is way more adept with self-care than I am. And that is facts. But because you recognize that, we recognize that, listen, we wouldn't be as great as we are without that challenge. I know I wouldn't. I'd still be cooking food, meals for people, still cleaning house. I would, because I was sold out to that. I was committed to that. But because of that, and you know what comes to, I accepted it. I didn't try to resist it. Was it painful? You darn skippy, it was painful. But accepting what my reality was, but also accepting the responsibility to pull myself up out of that. Because see, ain't nobody gonna do it for you, right? Heartbreak, excitement, whatever it is, you got to take responsibility for pulling yourself up out of it and becoming more adept at self-care. As the young lady said in the chat, listen, it's on you to pull you up out of that. And if you don't take responsibility for it, you're still gonna be sitting there on that floor crying and trying to figure out life figure out how come your life is not moving forward. But when we take responsibility, we find tools to help us do exactly that, to become the greatness that we are.
that's so well said, Kāron. I see you getting a lot of hearts too, because people are like, yes, 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 and it's true. I personally have, like, for me, my experience with my little sister is like, and she has my niece. Y'all see me feature my niece in some of my reels, like, my heart. Y'all better not touch her. I'm gonna touch you. Type of situation. But at the end of the day, listen, this is my younger sister. It's different for her, right? Like, if I talk to, like, my mom and talk about how my mom raised us as kids, and how basically, they struggled and there was a lot happening where they had to do more than what we have to do. Like, we pick up our phones and make money off our phones every day.
Right.
There was a different type of scenario back then. They say, so now as moms, these younger generations, these women, they're like, I'm not going to sacrifice myself. I already sacrificed my body to have this child.
Right.
For my sister usually, and she is so relaxed and so calm about her day to day. And the difference in the conversations with her, my mother, just like, so it's valuable because you can see the generational gaps and how it's like, we don't do that no more. Like, we don't do that.
Right.
And to your point of affirming what we want in life, we always had that power. It's just the younger generation is showing us that it can be done, and there's no excuses. And you are taking, a page out of the book and saying, well, it doesn't have to be just the younger generation. Like, why do we have to, because this is what realistically happens. And I'm just going to end with this, Kāron, because I don't want to get too deep, because then people start getting mad at me and stuff like that. All I want to say is, when you hit over a certain age, you start getting a little stubborn and bitter, and you start to think everybody's against you. And okay. But I'm just saying, I know there's people out there.
No,
And
you're right. You're right.
and it's just where we are.
Mm-hmm.
No shame in it. It's just where we
No.
are. But you know, at the end of the day, it's just a mindset.
It is.
And if you, which I love what you're doing, because now when I look at, because you know I'm looking at your data, right? I was looking at the room and I'm like, she got a lot of people in this room that's in this age bracket.
Yeah.
But I think the reason why it's so effective where you are and how you can be able to customize it and give people what they need at the time, because number one, they're more inept to like using their own wisdom now to say, okay, well, Kāron says it, you know, maybe I need to listen because, you know, I can relate to her journey.
Yeah.
Opposed to someone younger and they'd be like, they don't know nothing.
Fact.
Talking about self-care stuff. They don't know nothing about self-care. But you're able to relate and say, listen, I've been through it. I see what you see. I know what you know. And this is not the way to go.
Right. Right.
So with that being said, Kāron, I know you have an upcoming project and that you have a lot of moves that you're going to be making to change the lives of a lot of women in the world. Hopefully we get to do another live soon because, you know, the launch and everything that's coming up, people are really probably going to want to support you even more. But just tell us, how would you like us to support you right now? I know that, you know, the rooms on Clubhouse, I'm going to, let me see. Okay, so if you can, Kāron, put any, you know, call to action in the comments to how we can connect with you. That way we can follow you and get into those Clubhouse rooms so that they can get a piece of what you're talking about. If you're listening on this live or on the replay, first of all, hashtag replay if you're on a replay. I might give out some prizes this week. I want to make sure that y'all are getting into the spaces because to Kāron's point, when we did affirmations in those rooms, y'all, I wasn't like out and about, you know, I wasn't like stuck in life. Like I was just having a bad time. Like there was some things going on and it was my life was changing. And I was like, you know what? I don't want to feel like this. I don't want to be like this. I don't want other people to validate my experience in life. So the affirmation process is really what, to your point, got me to even here today where I could validate other people. There's no way you can do that if you don't validate yourself every day. If I don't wake up in the morning, do my prayers, routines, say my amens, to put out into the universe what my intention is, how I want my day to be seen. Because guess what? I tell my day what I want it to do.
Command the day. That's right.
So, you know, you got to have that attitude. And if you don't, then, you know, there's something that, you know, is going to deter you in that day. There's something going to come up, something's because it's challenging you to see if you're serious about what you say you're going to do.
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
So leave us some final words, Kāron, as to what you want us to just imagine about our lives moving forward. How you know want us to connect with you as well.
Absolutely. Thank you, Allegra. So the one thing I would say for everybody who's listening now or on the replays is one, to imagine what is the greatest thing. If you could just wave a wand and it's something about yourself that you will like for it to be exponentially better, think about what that is. And then I challenge you to put it into an affirmation. And when you put it into an affirmation now, make sure you're saying what you can or what you are, not about what you don't want to do anymore, because that's history. We can't change that. And when you do that, I would like you to do something else. The call to action is come to my Instagram. You see my Instagram. Come to my Instagram and put it in the comments what affirmation you are using for yourself. And then the next call to action is to come to my Clubhouse room. I will be launching some customized affirmations. I already have pre-orders already, believe it or not, that people who want their customized affirmations, because you know what I can do with that affirmation that you have put together for yourself? I can take that and build on it and give you even more affirmations to go along with that. So that is my call to action. I just want to encourage everybody, no matter where you're at in life right now, there's another level where you can level up, no matter where you are. Because like Allegra said, you get the car, you get the house. Okay, now what's next? So there's always room for growth. There's always room for empowerment. And I invite you to help me help you on this journey of empowerment.
Yeah, I better get with Kāron. And you know what? If you didn't get to post it, Kāron, on the link, I'm going to post it in the comments after the live.
Thank you.
Share it.
Yeah.
This will be shared to YouTube and all the platforms. And
okay.
Y'all make sure you know, I saw Kāron, I heard you say, I challenge you to, you know, do your affirmations, and I challenge y'all not to do it. Don't do it. Just don't do it. You know why I say don't do it? Because
I
you
know why.
try to do it and they'll be like, I don't know if it'll work. I don't know. I don't, but you ain't even tried it. Like, here's what's so funny is that as soon as you go to say an affirmation, your brain is going to say, don't do it.
Absolutely.
As soon as somebody is telling you, and I gotta say this, Kāron, because I know that it's just in my heart to say, I know there are people that need this more than anyone, and because they need it the most, they're so triggered by it that it will make them feel like, oh, I'm not going to say it. Yep, I agree, but I ain't going to do it. Because subconsciously, you know, our brains kind of hold the space of doubt and
Exactly.
fear. And it's just like, regardless of what you are saying outside of your mouth, that's why some people can tell if you're serious or not based on your actions, because people talk a lot.
They do. They do.
It don't mean anything. But I challenge y'all not to do it. Because if I tell y'all to do it, you're gonna be like, no, you know, I don't think so. Don't do it and see what happens. You're gonna get the same results. Don't do it and expect your day to be worse every single day. Expect your days to get harder. Expect your life to start looking the same repeatedly over and over and over again, and for you to get frustrated around what it is that you're not receiving. Expect that. Don't do what Kāron said. But if you do what Kāron said, then y'all know what's gonna happen.
Absolutely.
I just wanted to add that because
I love that.
Ripping. If y'all not waking up every morning to do affirmations, and if you're not getting with Kāron to get your specific affirmations for you, because when you say customize, Kāron, do y'all know what that means? It means it's for you. You are telling her, this is where I'm at. This is where my life is. That's why some people can't get to the place that they want to get, because they're saying someone else's dreams and desires and visions, and it's not for you. I digress.
Excellent point. Excellent point, Allegra. I love that. And you guys, if nothing happens, nothing happens.
Yeah, so just don't say it. All right, we got to get out of here. Thank you, Kāron. I really appreciated the time with you, and it was wonderful, wonderful. I'm going to be, you know, of course, sharing this. So make sure that Enriched by Tina, make sure that when you guys come on these lives, make sure that you follow, you know, the people that are being featured, the women behind the brand. Kāron laid out a lot in her story today, and I'm so appreciative of the fact that, you know, you allow me to share this time with you, that you trust me to even dig in, because it's like, you know, you never know what Allegra's going to say. People be like, where's the script? And I'm like, what's script? I don't know about it. But Kāron, you were amazing. So
thank you.
Yeah, we'll definitely be speaking soon. And Kāron is also the ambassador in the W.I.N community for Atlanta. And just a quick plug, if you want to meet Kāron in person, and if you want to like get your customized affirmations like one-on-one, maybe we're gonna be doing an in-person networking event this March, and it's gonna be a Reels creation party. But every time a networking event in Atlanta, we have a fabulous time. So make sure that y'all connect with Kāron, even if you're in Atlanta. Get to know her, and get your customized affirmations. Thank you, Kāron. I'll see you later, Queen.
All right. Bye-bye, everybody. Thank you, Allegra.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.